Welcome, welcome. This is our first session today. I guess why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, name's Mike Michow. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me in.
All right. Let's see. What's going to be our topic of discussion?
So today we're going to discuss getting sober, maybe a life in recovery. I feel like anybody given the opportunity, can get sober no matter how deep into their addiction they've fell into and hopeless they feel.
All right. And just so everyone knows, what actually or who brought you in today?
So a good friend of mine who does a lot of good work behind the scenes. He really does have a passion for helping people, invited me down as a way to try to reach as many people as possible who struggle with addiction, struggle with staying sober, just maybe to give some people some hope. So I'm happy to do it. These are ideas that I don't come up with, but better people than me have some good ideas, and I'm just happy to help out.
All right, very nice. I guess if people need help, I guess, what do you recommend? Like what outlets, should they reach out for, or what helped you when, starting to reach out to get help?
Yes, so that's a good question because I think we all need a starting point. So for me, I was always mandated into outpatients whenever I got in trouble, usually with the law, but I never took it serious. It wasn't until I felt it was time to get sober. I reached out to a friend who had also gotten sober before me. He pointed me into a rehab. I went away for 28 days. So that's a good starting point, is to go away, to be educated on the disease of addiction, the hopes of recovery, ways to get sober and stay sober. For me today, it's about, I go to 12-step meetings. That's what keeps me sober and connects me with other people.
Interesting. I don't know if this is too much or too personal for our first getting into this sit down, but they always say it's darkest before the dawn. What was your moment that you realized maybe, I got to change my life and otherwise I'm not going to make it?
Okay. So I had this point after years of battling, attempts at trying to control, not get too wasted. I had all these attempts and they were failing. And at the very end, I'll tell you what happened to me at the very end. I had my son, who was 4 years old, and my nephew, who was about 8 at the time, and they were staying with me for the night. I had no plans of drinking. In fact, the plans were to make sure that I don't drink. And I ended up going out to eat with my sister before I was to stay home with the kids. And before I knew it, I reached over and had 2 beers. I made it home with the 2 kids. And then I find a bottle of red wine in my mother's refrigerator, which I don't really drink red wine, but I figured that this is like sophisticated and like adulting that I could have wine. And I ended up drinking the whole bottle of wine. And then found a bottle of vodka. I ended up drinking the bottle of vodka.
Oof. Wow.
I then found a Xanax in my wallet, which I don't take Xanax, but I figured that this would be something to help me stay like melted into the seat, kind of control what I really wanted to do. I then had some ideas that I should smoke weed. I wasn't really smoking weed. I was always on probation or parole. So I smoked weed. The Yankees were on. It was October. It was the playoffs. And I did end up playing trouble with the 2 kids. I ended up gambling with them because nothing was enough. And I called my sister at one point and told her that her son was down $20 and he owed me money. And I didn't need the money right now, but I want the money. And it wasn't about the money. It was just that nothing was filling the void.
How old were
My nephew was
Yeah.
8. And
Okay.
My son was 4.
All right. Just want to get a little.
So it was
All right.
entertainment for a little while. And then I proceeded to have drugs, cocaine, all types of stuff coming in and out of the house all night. I was robbing the dealers. I wasn't paying it for anything. And about 8 o'clock in the morning, I kind of came to. I was alone downstairs playing PlayStation. And the first thought I had was, this sucks, because I feel like I just wasted the whole night. I don't even remember half of it. And there is no way that I'm going to stop drinking and doing drugs. So I got the kids out of the house, and I continued to go on for another 2 days, nonstop. Then my son's mother came to the house. It wasn't then, but it was like maybe a phone call after, where the relationship that I had with my son was going to be threatened. That how I see him or how much I see him was now something that I don't know. It was an issue. I had these feelings of embarrassment and shame, regret, remorse, and I just wasn't in a good place. And I felt like if I leave my house, I'm going to end up drinking again. And if that was like immediately followed by, even if I don't leave my house, I'm still going to end up drinking or doing drugs. I wouldn't say I was scared, but I just felt screwed, you know. And so I made a phone call. Rehab was suggested to me before, but this time I didn't know. I just felt like something had to change, and I was not capable of making the change myself. And that's when I made the call.
Interesting. So you just willingly on your own just made the call.
Yes. It came from inside.
Prior to that, did like other family members like kind of force you to go, and maybe like were there like some failed forced attempts?
So I never had gone to rehab before, but it was suggested. My mother, when times where things were really bad, my drug use was out of control, she would find drugs, see me doing drugs. You know, and I used to have these pep talks with people who maybe just didn't know what alcoholism or addiction really was, and they would try to give me pointers and tips on how to control my use. I remember one time I was called down to the bar. My dad was bartending. They pulled me into this room with these 2 other guys, and the guy had told me, so they were aware that my drinking was out of control, and they seriously suggested that after every beer that I drink, why don't I drink a glass of water in between?
Interesting.
I don't know how that would help.
Right. Maybe to fill you up. All right. Yeah. Because I guess, you know, they always say like when you're ready, right? I mean, you know, family could try to force you to go or to, you know, I have some friends and family that they went to rehab numerous times, but I guess it's just, you know, when you have that moment, you just think like my life might be over, you know, and I got to really make a change. And I guess that's at the point where, you know, you follow through.
So I definitely felt ready, but I didn't think it was gonna stick. I felt like I had failed at everything I tried to do. I was failing at being a father or an employee, you know, not a great son. But at the window of willingness was open. I don't know.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I was 29.
Okay.
So the window was open a little bit. I jumped through. Fear was a big motivator for me because I was fearful that I wasn't going to stay sober. So I was open to a lot of the suggestions that the people were telling me that I should take.
All right. Well, listen, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I guess let me know, like, you know, as we do more and more of these, you know, do you have any people that you're thinking about bringing on to discuss, you know, with you?
I have 2 people in mind. One is a friend who grew up similar to me, who has a big impact in some of the younger people in my town. He's kind of like a positive voice and a presence about him. You kind of know when he's in the room. Another guy is a little famous. He is a comedian, was on Saturday Night Live and stuff. it's good sobriety, somebody I keep in touch with over the years, I think maybe could reach some people.
All right, great. And I guess, I guess to take us out of here, maybe just look right into that camera, tell us your name, tell us how old you are, and then how long you've been sober.
Mike Michow, I'm 42 years old. I am sober for 13 years.
Thanks, Mike. We'll see you next time.